Hey guys, welcome to my channel. And in this video, we're going to talk about BRICS 2026. Now, what exactly BRICS 2026 is going to do for us, and what exactly is going to happen, how BRICS 2026 is going to actually accelerate the de-dollarization. Now, you have to understand there are quite a few things that are going on. Okay. And India has also just today, India revealed the BRICS 2026 logo and BRICS 2026 websites. Okay. And on that website, lots of things are very clearly mentioned. Okay. But the one thing that is not very clearly mentioned that we'll have to decipher from whatever India is talking about, the India's agenda and everything else, the BRICS 2026 agenda, which actually overlaps with the G7 agenda. So that's what we are going to talk about in today's video. Okay, so please do stay with me till the end. Please like and subscribe. And this is going to be a very, very interesting video as to how lots of things are being said in a very soft tone and in a very indirect tone, but they all have their repercussions as in on the dollar. Okay, and all that is going to happen this year and the following year, because following year is China's BRICS presidency. You have to understand this, lots of things are going on. Okay, this year China said that China is going to support India's BRICS presidency this year 100%. China has already made a Twitter post as well about this whole thing. Okay, and India has committed that India is going to support China's BRICS presidency the following year, that is 2027. And with all the things that are going on around us, from tariff to Venezuela to Iran to uh, all other BRICS countries being targeted like that. So right now, this agenda and this year for the BRICS actually becomes very important. In fact, I believe that next 4 to 5 years are going to be very important because of the whole entire dollar reset. Okay, so please do like and subscribe. Let's get started. Let's talk about all that. Okay, and let's get going. All right, first of all, let me share my screen. Stay with me, and then we will talk about this whole entire thing in detail. All right, so now what exactly happened? So this is what India unveils the logo. This is what you see on the right side. This is the logo, and this is the website. Now let's talk about the website directly. I'm going to show you the website, and let's talk about everything within the website. All right, now for the first time, okay, there are a few interesting things. There are certain things on this website that I want to show you. Okay, and then we will dive into all the aspects that I mentioned earlier. Okay, so if you're still with me, so let's go. See, number one thing, the first thing that no BRICS website has ever mentioned, even in the past, all right, in the past, not a single BRICS country's website, whether it was Russia, whether it was China, doesn't matter who that was. Nobody ever talked about this one important thing, that is the BRICS members and partners. This is the first time, if you notice, that a BRICS website clearly talks about who are the members and who are the partner countries. What are the BRICS members? This has always been a kind of there has always been a confusion about this. That if you go and look at the websites, you will see tens and thousands of websites that say this country is BRICS member, that country is BRICS member, somebody is full member, somebody is not full member. All those things are said. Okay, and at the end of the day, you find out that LLMs nowadays get confused. LLMs like Grok, Chat GPT, and all that, they all get confused as to who is the member and who is not. So for the first time on this website, India clearly mentioned who is the member, who is not, and what exactly the hierarchy is. So for here, the BRICS full members are Brazil, China, Egypt, Ethiopia, India, Indonesia, Iran, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, and UAE. Now, this is quite interesting. Because if you remember, Saudi Arabia never actually committed to it, at least in 2024. But it seems like that, but they always send their delegation. MBS never showed up, but they always send their finance minister and all that delegation. And Saudi Arabia never officially even declined it either. At least we didn't see any news. Okay. So from here, it's very clear that Saudi Arabia is also a BRICS member. Now, this is clear. All right. Now, this is very important. This is why I said that we have to look at this. All right. Now, Belarus, member countries, Belarus, Bolivia, Kazakhstan, Cuba is a partner country, Nigeria is a partner country, Malaysia is a partner country, Thailand is a partner country, Uganda, Uzbekistan, and Vietnam. These are all partner countries. Now, if you remember, Cuba joined in 2025, Belarus, Bolivia, they all joined in 2020. Actually, Bolivia joined in 2024. Then Malaysia also joined in 2024. Vietnam joined in 2025. All this, okay, and Uganda joined in 2025. Now, if you notice that uh, which countries are actually being targeted right now, if you look at it, then in this system, okay, we have Cuba, okay, Nigeria, then Thailand was there. There was problem in Thailand too. It was clearly somebody did something. Then we have Brazil. India is targeted right now at this point. Then Iran is targeted, right? Then then we have other countries, and South Africa was targeted. Okay. So, anyways, now this is very clear that who is the full member, who is not, who are the partner countries, and all that good stuff, right? So this is very clear at this point. Now, areas of cooperation, let's look into it real quick. Okay, I'm not gonna go too much in detail into it, because we have to get to the whole thing. All right. Now here, so do go and explore the website. You will see what exactly they are doing right now. Ministerial tracks like foreign minister, finance minister, industry, trade, energy, communication, environment. All these things are there. Transportation, science, women, labor. All this. These are the areas that BRICS collaborates among its members. All right. Then you have theme and priorities. All right. Now, this is the theme. This is the core theme. This is the core agenda of BRICS. And we will talk about this agenda or these agendas in detail in the video. Okay. First is resilience, innovation, cooperation, and sustainability. Okay. Strengthening economic, social, and institutional resilience. Okay. Strengthening economic resilience, social resilience, and institutional resilience to navigate global uncertainties, supply chain disruption. It's clearly mentioned the supply chain disruption, health challenges, that is from World Health Organization, and climate risk. Okay, climate risk is basically the G7 overlap. All right. Now they had to do it because this whole climate and all, they had to talk about it because of European Union free trade agreement is coming, and that's their primary condition. All right. Now innovation, deploying new and emerging technologies such as digital public infrastructure, okay, fintech, okay, AI, and knowledge sharing to enable effective services delivery and future ready growth. Now I think I'm giving you the hint, so probably you guys are getting it. Okay, I think so. All right, here, deepening multilateral engagement among BRICS members. Among BRICS members, through enhanced policy coordination, development finance, trade facilitation, reforms in global institutional governance, and people centric partnerships. Okay. Then you comes sustainability, accelerating collective efforts towards climate action, green finance, energy transitions, and sustainable development aligned with national and global priorities. All right. Basically, they're all they it's a go green type thing. Okay. They're trying to go green on this agenda and all that. Anyway, so that's what the whole entire BRICS thing was. All right, that's the website and the logo. Now, before we go move forward, so what exactly that if you go here, right? All right, hold on a second. So this logo right here, you notice this logo? This logo looks like a lotus. Actually, lotus is India's national flower too. But the sign of namaste right here, and these are all, these represents the individual BRICS countries and the flag and all that good stuff. Okay, so now if we go here, that's what it talks about, right? What does it say? External Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar unveiled the logo, theme, and websites of India's BRICS membership 2026 on 13 January 2026 in New Delhi. Okay, now the BRICS India logo symbolizes inclusivity, dialogue, and shared growth. The logo blends tradition and modernity with petals reflecting the vibrant colors of all BRICS members and symbolizing collective strength and unity. At the center, Namaste gesture conveys warmth, respect, and harmonious collaboration. All right. The theme for India's chairship this year is building for resilience, innovation, cooperation, sustainability. Draws inspiration from Prime Minister's humanity first and people centric vision for BRICS. Okay, all that good stuff. And then this is the website. All right, you can go check it out. Now let's, after all this due diligence is done, now let's talk about uh, the agendas. All right, how each and every agenda, that the four of those four things, how which one of those actually encourage is going to actually accelerate the de-dollarization. All right, which one is going to accelerate the de-dollarization? So let's talk about that. Okay, so first of all, resilient supply chain. Now if you look around, what do you find? We find that Venezuela is happening. All right, then you have Iran situation. All right, then Israel Hamas situation. Now I will give you a very simple example, that because of Israel Hamas situation, even though Israel's high for food is actually India actually, Indian companies actually build that thing along with the Israel, collaboration with Israel. Okay, but the problem is that it's not moving forward anywhere simply because of Israel Hamas situation. Okay, then look into Venezuela situation. What happened in Venezuela situation? All those oil tankers were being seized and all that, and what was being said, that these tankers are shadow fleets, they are violating the sanctions. So who sanctions those? Those tankers are simply what, they're not violating United Nations sanctions. You have to understand, there's some country that actually says that, yeah, we have sanctioned this, so everyone needs to follow that thing, the rule based international order. Okay, now that sanction is illegal in many ways. All right, if you go look at it, individual sanctions have no meaning. Only United Nations sanctions are considered the real sanctions, but that's not the case. So now what they want to do is they want to actually rob Venezuela of its oil. Now when they are robbing Venezuela of its oil, so countries that are there, they want they don't want these countries like China or say Russia and all that to go do the trade. All right, but so that also creates what, a supply chain risk, right? Then also, not just that that the tankers are being seized. The problem is that um, your Venezuelan oil is not coming into the market because of the sanctions. Look at Russia. Russia is facing the same problem. Russians have sanctions and all that. Then because of those sanctions, lots and lots of food supplies cannot go out into the international market in lots of other places, not just the oil or natural gas. All these things, right? And this is what has actually caused more problems, right? Now, this problem actually is caused but for the other countries, but one country, for that is Uncle Sam here. What Uncle Sam has been doing is that Uncle Sam printed at least $7 to $8 trillion. So what Uncle Sam is doing is that Uncle Sam is creating a global inflation overall. Okay, when you create the global inflation, then all the $7 to $8 trillion that have been printed, so they're trying to set up a new baseline, and with that baseline, what's going to happen is all that money, the extra money that was printed, they are going to utilize that money into the global market. That's the whole idea. Okay, so now coming back to the agenda, right? These were some examples that we talked about. Now, uh, so how the resilient supply chain actually helps, even though these things are not said directly, right? But number one, sanction proofing. What it does is that diversified, redundant, near short supply chains. Like if I don't know how many of you actually heard external India's external minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar's speech during the BRICS emergency summit after the 50% tariff announcement and all that. He said in that speech, he said that BRICS countries should be working on the shorter supply chains. How do you accomplish this shorter supply chain? You accomplish the shorter supply chain by trading within your neighborhood. So what do? You create a sphere of influence where you say that, hey, this is our neighborhood and this is where we are going to trade. And how do you do that? You do that by basically working with the neighboring countries like Russia, India, China, now European Union. This is why, if you notice, the European Union's language has also changed. Okay, now it is the same European Union. If you notice, it was the same European Union that just in 2022 that was talking about how India is funding Russia's war and this and that. The same European Union today wants to sign the free trade agreement with India. Why is that? It's because the optics has changed in the geopolitics. Okay, optics has changed. European Union has lost its importance, and they're realizing that actually that their importance is not as much as other countries' importance. So chances are that if they don't do something about their economy, their own defense, and all that, they're going to lose pretty much everything. Okay, so number one thing that is done through this whole resilient supply chain is the sanction proofing. Okay, second is the regional trade promotion. I just mentioned, like the shorter supply chain, shorten in the region for the region supply chains. Okay, so you're gonna see we will see actually, and you will see that there will be more and more trade growth between India and China, India and Europe, then India and Africa, India and the Middle East, and same thing for Russians too. Now, yes, there is a sanction, but Russian sanction is also not United Nations sanction. You have to understand that Russian sanction is also American sanction and the European Union sanction. But chances are that within a year or two, we will see that. That European Union will lift its sanctions. Okay, if Europe loses Greenland, then I can assure you that European Union will lift these sanctions from Russians. Okay, from Russia, they will lift all that and they will start to work with the Russians. You will see that thing. Okay, so and that's simply because the in the region and for the region optics, and this is why G7 is working with BRICS. Okay, the BRICS agenda right now and G7 agenda, they are overlapping with each other, and this is what Emmanuel Macron actually mentioned, the President Macron. And I made a video about it too, about India and European Union free trade agreement. Before that, actually, I made a video about it. I'll post a link. You can go check it out. All right. Then comes the scale effect. Okay, scale. A more reliable intra-BRICS logistics increase the trade volume, which makes non-US dollar settlement tools like BRICS pay or unit concept commercially practical, not just political. Okay, you have to understand this. That scale effect, right? When you trade in your neighborhood, then lots of things become easy. Okay, lots of things become. For example, India's rupee actually is being used by pretty much all the neighboring countries. Sri Lanka allows it. Your Bangladesh allows it, Myanmar allows it, Russians allow it, right? And then there are other countries like Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, all these countries, they all trade in the Indian rupee. And then UAE is there, then Saudi Arabia has allowed it. So all this is going on. This is not just something that India is trying to internationalize its rupee. This is what China is doing. This is what Russia is doing. Okay. So what we will see over the period of time is that BRICS is going to uh, increase this type of payment and logistics and the non-US dollar settlements more and more. You're gonna see trade in national currencies, and this is gonna happen in the neighborhood. Okay, so first step is already done. First step is underway right now. You can call it done or two, whatever you want to call it. Okay, that is number one, setting the sphere of influence. All right, what does that even mean? Now let me give you a brief. Okay, just brief. Stay with me. See, what just happened with Venezuela and what actually US wants to do with Greenland. Okay, They both are part of a very simple strategy. What is that strategy? Strategy is that how, when the petrodollar started in 1979 and all that, what happened? Then US and the West, when the West was so called united as such, okay, then they decided to police this whole entire petrodollar system and impose it on the rest of the world by selling the oil in dollars, okay, and they police the whole entire globe. But now, since they're losing their influence over the Middle East, that's why they called it Middle East, because it's in the middle of the West and the East. So they called it Middle East, even though countries in Asia and all, they call it West Asia. They don't call it Middle East. Okay. Anyways, so when that happened, so now what they're doing right now, what they're doing is they realize that uh, if they want to maintain their sphere of maintain the dollar, if they want to maintain the dollar, then they'll have to cut their losses and simply secure what they can secure within their realm of effectiveness, or whatever they want to call it, okay. That's why instead of globe, now they have shifted their optics to what? Only to the Western hemisphere. Okay, the whole idea is to secure the Western hemisphere, so that Western hemisphere uses the dollar. Okay, that's the only goal here. Now Venezuela was captured not because of the oil. Okay, any company, anybody who is a good businessman who understands the oil market will tell you that Venezuelan oil is good for nothing. Okay, practically it's not. But Venezuela was taken in under control so that no other country can go in there. Okay, no other country can go there and start trading with Venezuela in non dollar currencies and all that. Why? Because Venezuela is sanctioned. Okay, so when only option that Venezuela will be left to do is what? Use a non-dollar denomination, that is trade in national currencies. That was the whole idea behind it. Okay, that's why. So this way, what they're gonna do is that they want to have control over the licensing and all that within the Venezuela. The US wants to have control in the trade decisions and all that. So what they will do is that they will flood Venezuelan market. Next step will be that they will flood Venezuelan market with the US products. Whatever they will manufacture, they are going to sell it to the Western hemisphere first, and they're going to flood Venezuelan market with the Western products. That's exactly how it's going to happen. All right, that's the whole idea behind Venezuela. Venezuela will not be captured. There will be no nothing. Only agreement will be to control the licensing and Venezuelan export and the import. That's about it. Trade and licensing, oil licensing and all that. That's about it. All right. Now Greenland is something. Why US wants to take the Greenland? This is also related to the supply chain, and this is why I'm talking about it. Okay, so don't think that I'm going off topic anywhere. Greenland is something that, if you look at it, US has two major problems with Greenland. Number one is not Greenland, but when it comes to the Arctic overall. Number one problem is the US doesn't have any icebreakers. Okay, so competing with Russians without icebreaker in the Arctic is just a bad idea, and it's just a something that is not feasible. Okay, so what do you do? And there are quite a few choke points there too, near the Barents Sea and all that. Okay, so so and Russians are going to use one of those checkpoints, choke points, to go from Arctic, go to Africa. That's what they're going to do eventually. That's exactly how cookie is going to crumble. Mark my words, you will see that thing what I'm talking about. All right. So, so what's going to happen is that since US doesn't have any icebreaker or anything, so instead of wasting time or putting too much time and money in building icebreakers, they are saying that, okay, how about we just take the Greenland and put a base there so that we can secure our region. Otherwise, US already has access to Alaska. So why would they care about the Greenland, right? So that this is the primary reason to control the supply chain and the choke points over there, whatever they can, before somebody else does. Okay, so comes down to a resilient supply chain. All right. Now, Then by doing this resilient supply chain, what you do is resources compliance, security, securing commodity chains while meeting sustainability, CBAM, all that. Basically, what I'm saying here is a resource compliance. Okay, resource compliance meaning that I have made quite a few videos uh, about how BRICS controls the commodities and all that, right? And with the commodity control, when you secure your commodity, what do? You secure the supply chain. And when you secure your own commodities, what do? You trade them in your own currencies. Okay. And that's exactly how it's going to happen. All right. So, and then this also leads to sovereignty, also. Sovereignty meaning that you have your own supply chains, you have your own insurance policies and all that. So, insurance, handling the risk management that comes with the shipping and containerization and all that, right? And so all that stuff will be controlled under this thing that is resilient supply chains. So chances are that it may not be right now, but we may actually see uh, something, some of those things like BRICS countries may actually work together to come up with their own shipping insurance providing provider or something like that, that will be backed by NDB and all that too. So you will see all that. Now comes the next part, that is that's gonna actually do the de-dollarization too. That is your digital public infrastructure. And digital public infrastructure will have multiple things are there. All right, so for example, I'll give you a simple thing. Number one is the interoperable payment networks, that's part of it. Then digital identity and trust, then scalability for the global south, geopolitical utility without currency theater, and then quiet de-dollarization logic, right? So number one main thing is this guy right here, interoperable payment networks. Okay, what's gonna happen with this? And some of it is actually happening already. Number one is that interoperable payment networks. If you look into it, you find that there is UPI is there. China has its own payment system. Russia has its own payment system and all that. So what digital public infrastructure is going to do is that it will create the interoperability within these payment systems. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing is that uh, this will be scaled further, scalability for global south. How that's going to work out is that by CBDCs, right? CBDCs right there, gold and CBDC. Now I have talked about this thing in detail in the past, that entire global south right now is working on CBDC pilot research or whatnot. Russia has it in pilot, India has it in pilot, and China has it in pilot. And China is actually using it for cross border payments as well. Okay, and these will be interoperable payment networks. And I have always said this thing. Okay, in fact, just recently in one of my videos I said that only thing that will kill the dollar completely, when I say kill the dollar completely, will be CBDCs. This is the primary reason why US never moved toward the CBDC. Okay, simply because, yes, they said the security reasons and all that thing, security as in, oh, centralized currency and this and that. The whole talk was there in 2020. But what they did is that uh, people of United States, they simply rejected it because they don't trust the government, and which is for a good reason. I can understand that. But what happened is actually the behind the scenes problem is the government actually understood this, that implementing CBDC, a digital dollar, is going to kill the dollar the way we know it today. Okay, simply because it won't be a reserve currency. Why it won't be a reserve currency? Now think about it. It won't be a reserve currency after that, because when all these interoperable payment networks will be available, if India has the CBDC, it's workable. African continent, entire African continent has CBDC. Okay, I'm not just saying the one or two countries. Right now 144 countries are working on CBDCs, and 64 of them have already implemented their CBDC, like it's in pilot or they have implemented it already. Okay, so if these payment networks are connected, then don't you think that they will trade in national currencies instead of dollar or something else? And when that happens, When that switch is turned on, it's going to be like the kill switch for the dollar. Actually, the dollar will be gone after that. Okay. So, but what's happening right now? So some of you are like, oh, so why don't they see? Why it's not being done right now is because, like for example, in India, it's like 5,000 entities are right now testing this thing. It is under pilot. China is already doing the cross-border payments using yuan, and trillions of yuan trade is already going on with that thing. Okay, Russians are working on it. It's in pilot. Iran is working on it. It's in pilot. So for Iran, it will definitely be something that they will do it because of what Iran is going through right now, right? So this is another aspect of it, that digital public infrastructure. This is another thing that is a complete de-dollarization mechanism. This is a kill switch for the dollar, actually. Then scalable payment capabilities. Okay, that's another thing that is there. Now, anything, whatever you do, any payment or payment system, settlement system, or clearing system, whatever you do, okay, if it is not scalable, okay, if it's not scalable, then it's not workable. Okay, it has to be scalable. So it has to be able to handle the high volume. Then you have to create the liquidity and all the networks and everything else, and all that will be done through what? The interoperable payment networks. Like for example, India's UPI, BRICS Pay is there. Okay, then you have China's yuan. All these payment systems are going to actually create a scalable payment capability. Okay, payment capability, and then followed by the settlement capability, and that's all that is going to happen. And that's what BRICS is promoting this year. All right. Now, even though India is not saying it directly, that oh, this is de-dollarization and this and that. No, the outcome of these things that are being done will is only one thing, that is de-dollarization. Meaning that what India is doing is that India is creating a system for countries to have option, for global south to have option. Okay, and once the global south has the option, then what do you think global south is going to choose, right? So that's how this is going to happen. All right. Now, final thing is the multilateral engagement, BRICS. So what actually Dr. Jaishankar, during the unveil of this whole logo and a website and all that, he said that in BRICS 2026, India is going to encourage and work with all the BRICS members so that we can increase the trade among each other. Now, why is that? If you notice that 2025, actually, all the BRICS countries were directly targeted. Just these are some random targetings, right? If you now new thing is what? If you are trading with Iran, then there is 25% extra tariff. It seems like that Uncle Sam doesn't want anyone to trade with them. That's the problem. Okay. Now, and these are the kind of things that actually increase the multilateral engagement. So if you want to increase the tariff 25% tariff, so be it. Then nobody's going to trade with you. So, and these are the kind of things that actually lead to these type of engagements, right? And so what's going to happen is how they're going to do these things by building the consensus and trust. Like for example, now India is opening its market for China. China is opening its market for India. So much so that India's trade in Chinese actually India's export to China has increased by 10% actually. All right. So it used to be 10%, or it is like 10 by $10 billion. It has increased. Then same thing with Russia too. So India's export was just $5 billion. Now after all the things, and so it has now grown up to $10 billion, and this is actually going to grow further too down the line. All right. And in fact, India and China are looking into certain collaborations as far as Myanmar is concerned too. So India may actually work with China on the CMEC, China Myanmar Economic Corridor. And they're also working on what? strengthening institutional alternatives. So he also talked about NDB. He said that yeah, we should look into IMF and World Bank and all that, but NDB is something we will have to use more NDB and work on elevating its interoperability and all that good stuff he talked about. All right. So these are the things that are going to do what? Multilateral engagement. So we will see in from 2026 onward, what we are going to see is that trade between the BRICS countries is going to increase. Okay. Now, considering that G7 is also wanting to work with BRICS, they're asking India to act as a bridge. So what's going to happen is that we will see that European Union overall actually may join the club, and not join the BRICS, but they may actually BRICS may start to refine its policies and its agendas, keeping European Union in mind as well. Okay, keep European Union and Africa in mind. So, and considering everything else, and if you look into European Union has already become global South, quite frankly. So that's gonna happen, all right. And in that situation, what you will see is the Western Hemisphere basically uh will be mainly your US, then South America, and this and that, and Canada on that part, and some Australia maybe here and there, but mostly the or any landlocked country that is like the Asian country, Europe, and all that, they all will trade with each other because it is perfect for what? Shorter supply chain, resilient supply chain. Then there will be multilateral engagement. They have their own currency payment system, all that is going to be there. They have all the commodities and everything else. So hence we are going to see all this happening in 2026 and in 2027. We are going to see these things happening constantly, all right. And by 2030, I think that there will be a plug that will be pulled, and uh, what everyone is waiting for probably eventually will happen. All right. So I hope you guys learned something. Please do go and check out the BRICS website and all that. You will learn a lot. And yeah, and I'll talk to you guys in another video. Please do like and subscribe and take care.